called now? We'll just make it a short one. Hi, welcome to Dirty Little Creatives, podcast about all things creative. My name's Andy, this is Rich, and this week we've got Dolby on. We've just had a half-hour conversation. I didn't press record. We need to what we need to do?
A massive bell end.
We need to start making money on these, and then we can do it on like a weekday during the day.
Okay.
So we need to get
them at night, though.
So we need to get about 10,000 unique listens. So tell a friend, because we're on about 100 at the moment. I'm so sorry.
What a dick. Where were we then? So what did we start off with?
It was a great test run.
So we were talking about...
He's an amazing photographer. Here's some other work. You can catch her on Instagram. It's probably the best format, medium. And then your website is...
helenadolby.co.uk.
It's not changed.
No. It's got my name right this time.
Recording now.
I know. I'm just not going to let it down. Wouldn't let it lie. It's okay.
Born in Manchester, did graphic design in Brighton, and then that's as far as we got. Actually, to be fair,
Yeah, there were
we just talk
a lot of talking about
talking a lot of rubbish about ourselves,
politics,
politics,
secret weddings.
We were just saying something that I was going to cut out. That's why I looked down at the recorder, because I was like, I might have to cut that bit out.
So what you did is cut it all out.
Yeah. See, if you hadn't started talking about that, I
favour.
wouldn't have looked at the recorder. Oh my goodness.
So shall I mention it again?
I'm a moron.
The bit you cut out.
Everyone's going to want to know now.
So you...
Yeah, did graphic design in Brighton. Ended up doing a lot of photography on your course, and then you were just like, you came away with a fine art degree after 3 years in Brighton.
Graphic design.
What did I say? Fine art. You said something about fine art. You did fine art.
I did fine art.
Did you?
Do you remember that?
Yeah. I've forgotten it a few times.
Me every week. Did you do fine art? Like, yeah, you know I did.
Where did you do fine art?
Salter Lane.
Did you? Nice.
The last year at Salter Lane when it graduated, 2007, I think it graduated. Immature student.
We must have overlapped. I was at Salter Lane at some point around there. I have no idea when.
But I can't remember you.
I have no idea when.
You're insignificant.
Film studies at Sheffield Hallam, we did one workshop, we did one seminar, and we did one screening a week. So you wouldn't have remembered me because you wouldn't have seen me the whole time. And then
in the night.
most of the seminars, the lecturer didn't turn up to.
Were you like...
Not most. I'd say
I can
20%
imagine you being
of them
like one of those guys who wore trench coats and like eyeliner. Stayed in dark rooms.
That was a film study
Watching
student.
films.
That's what film study students look like. They're all just weird. Just like this one guy who I made friends with was like the only person that I could talk to who wasn't like a complete stoned Fruit Loop. He was just out of the army.
Right.
And
you
then
were just thinking, thank
the rest of
we've
them
got gun control in this country.
He was the least weird of, oh my goodness. So I think I'm probably the only person that's doing anything to do with films now.
Really?
Off that course. And it was just a terrible course. Like all the lecturers, apart from one lecturer, was they're all terrible.
Well, this is what I was thinking about lecturers earlier before you didn't record it. That sometimes you can get a good lecturer who kind of inspires you and put you onto other stuff.
Chi Yun Shin. Her name was Chi Yun Shin. Shout out.
I had one because I did a foundation access course. Deborah Egan, she put me onto so many like artists because most of the other tutors were like doing Picasso and just like standard like what the fuck is
even
this?
I've heard of that. Picasso.
The stuff but she like put me onto like Cy Twombly and Basquiat and like loads of other stuff that was like really interesting. It's like okay, yeah, like,
makes a massive difference, hey?
Yeah,
Get
it does.
Get
Get
a
a
good
good tutor.
You click with,
Get a good tutor who sees kind of what you're into as well and gets
understands what you're about. Yeah.
We end up talking about uni quite a lot, don't we?
It's probably like
quite important part of
cauldron of creation, though, isn't it? Really, a lot of the time.
Professional.
Yeah, I think for kind of creative courses,
I think it's hard to be a professional without doing it, especially like art or even if you went and you failed and you only did a little bit, you still need to have experienced that. I think I don't
Did
think
you
it's
meet
possible
anyone
to
at uni that you still kind of know, or did you get any connections through it? Or
Yeah, massively. Yeah. So all my good friends, loads of my good friends are friends that I met on that course, and yeah, just I think it's a pretty tight kind of place actually, Brighton. Like, you end up kind of meeting a lot of people from other courses, and yeah, and everyone's super talented that went there. So not everyone.
Were there any fights on the beach?
Fights?
Yeah, like mods and rockers. Doesn't matter.
Just so old. Just so old.
Too young for that, sorry.
So did you start doing anything like selling anything or working professionally during your course, or was it later on?
Yeah, more later on, really. I mean, I did bits and bobs, kind of more design stuff, I suppose. So kind of little graphic design jobs. And then, yeah, kind of came out of uni and still was figuring out kind of what direction it was that I wanted to go in, I suppose. So when I got a design job in London, and yeah, but kind of through working there, I just kind of kept thinking that I'd really just like to go do my own thing. And it was photography really that kind of kept coming to mind. But it's funny because I didn't have, a portfolio or anything. I didn't really have any like solid work to share or anything. I kind of just, I suppose I had this weird like confidence that I could do it, I suppose. So yeah, and then moved up to Sheffield, and that was when I kind of really got cracking on kind of doing my own stuff, I suppose.
Was it a family move that made you pick Sheffield then?
Yeah. So, I mean, I was probably about 24, 25. So, like, definitely old enough not to tag along with my parents. But, yeah, London, I mean, great city, obviously, but wasn't for me. And I felt like I wasn't quite sure how you go freelance in London, really. It's kind of felt so kind of unapproachable and obviously expensive.
Yeah, there's no, like, blueprint for... That's why I'm always so interested in how you got from uni to like where you are now, because it's like there's no blueprint of how to do it. There's no like in our industries. It's like it's just so random.
Yeah, and it is fascinating, isn't it? Because
if you train to be a doctor, you can just get a job in a NHS surgery somewhere.
Yeah. And I mentioned my brother earlier, who's just gone on to foundation now, and I think he feels really kind of overwhelmed with what's he doing? Where's he going? What's the job going to be at the end of this? But that's the thing, isn't it? It's so vast and huge, the kind of
maybe
creative
he could
world.
go cyber.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know it yet.
So he's doing the same course?
So he's at Leeds doing his foundation there.
Right.
Yeah.
Do your parents do anything creative like that? Or?
No.
How random?
I mean, my mum writes. She's a writer.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, I suppose she's creative, but and yeah, she's kind of artistic, but not.
What does he do? What's he good at?
He's an amazing painter. But again, he's like, that's all he's ever been taught. You kind of just get taught fine art, don't you? So now he's doing all this different stuff, and he's like, oh, I don't know. It's like, it's huge, isn't it? So
it's really weird because I went to uni just wanting to paint. I want to be a painter. I want to be a painter. Got there, and then they were like, you need to just do different stuff, and I ended up doing like performance art. Loved photography, to be honest. Getting older, but like developing the films and spending time in the dark room, all that kind of thing. That was really good.
That's quite paintery, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
darkroom stuff's quite. It's quite similar to painting.
That image making, isn't it? That kind of process.
And then
I hated that.
Left and then just started painting again on my own. But probably 10 years after uni, I started painting again because I was just like, I hate the whole thing. I hate the art scene. I just can't be. Yeah.
Why?
Don't know. It's just like, I don't know. It's a bit vacuous and a bit like the gallery openings and all the kind of things you need to go to be part of a scene to do. It's just like.
Was it like gatekeepery or pretentious?
I don't know if I kind of. I think I concentrated a bit too much on jiu-jitsu as well, to be honest. Slipped my spare time when I wasn't working.
Oh, right.
Not painting because I wasn't relying on painting
to express your
deep, dark,
strangling people,
demons. But yeah,
I know what you mean. I think
you've only got a limited amount of time, haven't you?
Yeah, and I think it can be kind of quite all-consuming, can't it? And you feel like you kind of got to keep up somewhat. And
if it's not putting food on the table, it gets put on the back burner, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, but I do like painting now. But I have to like just go. I'm taking a week off, and I'm gonna paint.
Yeah.
And then produce a few pieces.
Right mood as well, hey, like the right zone for it.
Do you have to have rich parents to like be successful as a creative professional? Do you think?
I think it helps.
It certainly helps. Yeah. I think definitely. In like,
I wouldn't know.
I was gonna say it's probably why. Yeah.
I mean, I don't. I mean, my family aren't wealthy, but I was certainly like able to live with them in my first year.
I think some people kind of use it as an excuse to not perform and not try harder and not. I think, if it's all right for you, you've got rich parents. But it's like, no, you can actually, if you've got a good work ethic, you can just get stuck in and do stuff, can't you?
Yeah. Make time. Yeah. I wouldn't know. I got rich parents, so.
Wanker. At least you're not a Tory, though.
No, I was raised Tory.
Were you?
Yeah.
I can tell.
Somebody close to me in my family ran for UKIP
wow.
a couple of years ago. My mum.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was raised very conservative.
You're quite well adjusted to say you've got that shit going on in your family.
Oh, mate, that's not even half of it. But I think because I'm quite creative naturally. Yeah. I just was always left. I think that's kind of part of it. My personality always fought against that. Yeah,
it's really weird, with the I joked on it earlier, the cyber thing that they did last week, the Conservatives, like, maybe creative people should retrain and do something else.
Right. That's what you're referencing.
It's just a little bit weird that, like, anybody creative, I don't think would actually vote Tory. So it's like,
it's weird when there's...
Creative people are usually a little bit more left-leaning.
Oh, yeah, massively.
Actually have apathy for other people.
Yeah, it's a big part of it.
Want the world to be a beautiful place, not like make money and look after me best mate from uni. Just because we fucked a pig's head once.
Specific. Yeah, it's weird that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's strange. How that works out.
Yeah, it's a strange,
That's why we're all poor as well.
I don't know if, like, unis or... Was yours pretty left-leaning? Like... I think it's just the people you're hanging around with as well that, like...
I don't really know.
Yeah, I reckon, yeah. I mean, I was always very aware that, like, certainly, like, if you look at it, it's very white, middle-class type of people that go to arts uni. So, I think there's something in what you're saying.
What was I saying?
Is it easier
creative
to be...
people are more likely
rich parents.
Likely to be... Oh, with the rich parents thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose there's a number of kind of lines in that, isn't there? Whether if you don't come from money, then you've kind of got this idea that, well, you need to graft, or you need to, make money. So probably going down the creative route isn't going to get you there, maybe. And I think uni in general as well. I know obviously you get grants, you get loans, but it's not accessible for everyone. I mean, there's a lot of upfront costs in terms of kind of buying all your household things, and just not everyone has that, hey?
And the price is really strange now, because I think uni's changed a lot, like with the student accommodation and things like that that are now in. It's like, somebody was telling me the other day, it's like, he's paying, I think it's £700 a month for like this shoebox studio flat with a shared kitchen at the end of the corridor. Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
and that's all your bills. Well, that's all your bills, your council tax, blah, 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 blah. But you've basically got a bedroom for £700 a month. But you get free internet and you get some free... And it's like, surely you just get a big old house somewhere and all move in it together and...
That's how it used to be, hey?
Live like the young ones.
I'm assuming the developers that put those together will have a marketing budget, and they'll just like get the new students as they come out of A-levels and just
get Chinese students in them.
That's such a massive bubble, eh? That whole student... And you see them going up as well. They're building them still. Well, like... We're going to have to gentrify them when they're empty. All those places. There's massive blocks.
What are they going to be? I don't get it. Unless they're just like future prisons from when everyone gets arrested.
There you go.
COVID.
But they're also, you would know about this, are they like sound structurally? How long are they going to last for? Are they all like cardboard box?
Oh, most buildings now are like cardboard boxes, all tin stud
literally.
walls, and yeah.
Wild.
The concrete floors, aren't they, in between? But
Especially
the
now.
in between is just, you know, knock it all out if you really wanted to.
Especially now lockdown sped up the whole Zoom learning thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like where you don't have to physically. All those Chinese, Malaysian students are going to just learn remotely from home.
I think part of the experience is coming to an English town, learning English, the whole, and it's just a big money spinner, isn't it? Because they have to pay substantially more than we do to study
fees,
here.
Yeah.
So it's just, universities are businesses, though, aren't they? That's the thing. Literally business. They just want to make money. It's driven.
Yeah.
But we all went, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked through a lot of mine, though. I had to pay my rent.
Ask me if I did. I didn't.
Yeah.
I voted green in the last election for the record.
Good for you.
I actually did as well, yeah. Only since Majid became a Green councillor, MEP type thing.
Only since I did that work for them.
Oh, right.
That's like only right to.
Yeah. I think
The manifesto makes the most sense.
Well, I
but
think
I just
looking
don't-
after the planet
Yeah.
should be the main.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of important. Hey?
Yeah. But I think we just like pass it off, is it not? It's like, oh, let's forget about, there's this virus now. And like,
Yeah, well, that's what happened.
Climate change doesn't matter.
It was getting some real momentum, wasn't it? Like Extinction
Yeah.
Rebellion, and then all of a sudden, no, we've got COVID. That's
Yeah.
that's
kind
the
of a
thing now.
Big distraction from everything.
Well, yeah, I think people can only focus on one.
When really,
Yeah, 100%. They got the work, they got family, and then they've
When
already got the
really-
space for one extra thing.
COVID would be pretty good for the planet.
Brilliant, yeah.
Just not good for humans, but pretty good for the planet.
Well,
It's not as good as the flu, though, is it? Or is it not?
Well, bring
Is the
back
flu
the
better?
Spanish flu.
Right.
Yeah. 50 million gone. More
Heroes of
jobs.
peace.
More jobs for everyone. It's only Spanish people who get it anyway.
Cool. Another theme is moving to London, isn't it? Everyone seems to like move to London for a bit.
Yeah.
How did you find that? Like, how did you find that? Like, kind of changed your perspective on things, or influenced you?
Who were you
Going
working
forward.
for while you were there as
well, I
well?
worked for a cake shop actually. So I was like their in-house kind of designer, marketing, anything vaguely creative, whack it on her desk.
Only in London would a cake shop have an
I know,
in-house
right?
design
Yeah.
marketer.
But yeah, I mean, it was, I didn't live in London. I commuted from Essex because that's where we lived as a family. So that was pretty killer, to be honest. That was a good kind of 2.25 hours each way.
Whoa, well, each way.
Yeah, and expensive, so expensive. I mean, it was crazy.
This
I
is the
know.
thing that's always put me off is like, even if I've got half an hour commute, I'm like, I can't be
Mate,
honest.
half an hour is like London. Whenever you meet up with people after work, it takes you an hour to get wherever they.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And
Like,
then
you can get around Sheffield way quicker than you can get
Yeah.
around London.
And then they all finish work, go to the pub, get the last tube home.
And it's like 10 at night,
That's the lifestyle.
It's just a different pace.
Get
hey?
pissed, go home.
Yeah.
Wake up, go to work. Get pissed, go home.
Do coke,
Get lots of coke.
go home. Do coke.
Really shit coke down there as well.
It took Hannah like an hour, at least an hour, to get to her work when we lived down there.
Yeah. But you kind of, I think when you're there, you just do it, don't you? It's like I said, it's a different pace, and you just, that's what you're in.
Tubes
So.
and escalators. And, it just makes me feel really anxious. I think the longest I've worked down there for has been like 2 months on a project doing a shop. But then it's just, I just need to come home on the weekends as well.
It's mad.
Yeah.
So nice to come home and just be like,
Oh no, Andrew's coming round with his bloody camera and his microphones.
Not even going to press record.
have you pressed all your buttons?
I'm an idiot.
But But yeah, it's a different pace, isn't it? And I never want to be kind of slaying it because it's, it works for some people.
Mm-hmm.
People like
I
it.
felt like when I
People
came
don't.
back from London, I felt like bigger. I felt more confident.
In what's like?
Then when I left Sheffield,
Mm.
when I came back, I'm like, I've lived in London. I can live in London. Like capacity to be, self-employed in London.
Yeah.
I came back and I was like, yeah, right.
Yeah, a little badge
Feel
of
a
honour
bit-
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Feel a bit larger.
I sounded really
high
patronising when I
capacity.
said that. I'm sorry. A little badge of honour.
It was appropriate. I need patronising every now and then.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
all
it's,
right.
yeah, it's a slog, isn't it? I think, yeah, hats off to anyone that's doing their own thing in London because it's, to make enough money to pay your bills, it's significantly different to here. But I think that's what I liked when I moved to Sheffield, that I did feel like there was a lot more kind of creative stuff going on because people had the space and the time, and perhaps they can work part-time and still afford, to live and, then do part-time their own stuff on the side. And I found that, really kind of creates a really nice environment, I think.
Yeah, it's got a good community, isn't it? So when you came back to Sheffield, what time was that?
When was it?
Yeah, when?
Like 2014, 15.
Yeah, so we talk a lot about like this golden era of Sheffield.
Yeah, she missed it.
But you're a part of like a quite a good community around there that I think we kind of missed out on in a way. Because a lot of people we've had on here are like, yeah, it was very good then, and we're kind of a bit disconnected now.
Mm-hmm.
But you were around sort of 2014, 15. But there was a community.
Oh, I found it like really good community. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't have any links here. I kind of turned up here and didn't know anyone or anything. And
Do you have a studio or anything in Sheffield?
no. So I've always just kind of worked from home or from wherever.
Okay.
And yeah, people were just instantly kind of supportive and helpful and kind, and yeah, I think
it's a great place.
it is a good place.
Like
isn't
you
it?
can smile at somebody here and you get a smile back, not like, who the fuck is that weirdo smiling at?
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lovely place, isn't it? And
Yeah.
really nice kind of mix of everything that you need from a city.
And kind of one person vouches for you that he's all right.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
Sound,
Yeah.
And then if you, oh my God,
If you get a black mark,
yeah,
Everyone knows about it.
we all know what you're like. Yeah. No, it is a great place to be creative, I think. Cheap.
Yeah.
It's quite inspiring to be able to get out into the peaks and
Yeah,
just
for sure. Yeah.
decompress and
I mean, that's quite special, isn't it? To be able to.
Yeah.
I love in the summer when.
I was looking at some of your work earlier, which is like, do you go out walking quite a bit then?
Yeah. So I just love being outside, really. So yeah, walking as much as possible, and it's just, I mean, it's really special, isn't it? In the summer when you've got long evenings, you've got 10-minute drive, and you're out in amazing countryside. It's not just a bit of greenery, is it? Like, it is really amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
How did you first start getting work? Like, what's the process of?
Good question.
Like-
I don't know. It's all kind of blurred, to be honest. I think it's just it was just meeting people. Anyone that you kind of had a vague link to or anything, I just kind of met for coffee, and that's what I mean about it being so supportive. Like, people did want, people were up for meeting me and helping me out with names and people to go and see. So, yeah.
Did you do a lot of stuff for free, first of all?
No, not really. No, not particularly. I think there's a danger of that, isn't there? Once you've done something for free for someone, then it's very hard to charge.
You've got to know your worth, haven't you?
And it's not fair, is it, to be, I think, I don't know, I kind of look at fellow photographers as like, I don't see them as competition. I think we all kind of need to look after each other, and I think if you start setting a precedent of, this is going to cost 40 quid or nothing or whatever, then it's not fair on everyone else, is it?
A rising tide lifts all ships.
Yeah. Well
Nice.
done. Very poetic.
I wrote it. I didn't. It's the whole thing, isn't it?
'Cause it's like the whole mates rates thing. I often think about that. It's like mates rates. It's like, well, shouldn't you be giving me more money if you're my mate?
Yeah, I think it takes a while to. I don't know. For me, it takes a while to maybe it's like a creative personality trait that it's, as you say, know your worth. That was very hard for me.
It's really hard.
Until I got a wife that told me you need to triple your prices.
Yeah.
But
you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is hard.
You need to press record or you're out.
But also, you want to you of course want to help people out. You want to be kind, but also I think you it's your job, and you wouldn't ever expect. I don't know. Imagine saying to a teacher could you just not get paid today, or could you only get half your salary this month? It just wouldn't happen, would it?
No.
It would under the Tories, but anyway.
Could you just go cyber for 20% of your wage?
Yeah, it's tricky. I think, it's a really hard one to navigate, isn't it? Makes rates. And I always think kind of if I'm approaching friends or people that I know that I'm getting a quote from for something, I try and kind of take that awkward ball out of their court and just say, don't even think about giving me a discount. I'd like to pay you, the full amount.
Just racking my brain trying to think what our dealings have been in the past.
I do kind of like the fact you can just send invoices though, and you don't really have to talk about stuff, and it can be, I'll send you a quote, and it's not like a conversation that you have to have, because sometimes I just hate talking about money.
I think there's real value in doing that, and kind of do make it really professional.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I always try and avoid doing business stuff over WhatsApp, and just always say email me, and that's on your email, and then I only deal with my email certain times a day, and if it's a quote, you do a proper quote rather than just
and this is what you're going to get, and this and set out.
All right, and
extras will be this much.
It's important.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But it's tricky, isn't it?
It really is. So do you sell much? I noticed you've done some paper prints and things like that. Do you sell many of those?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's not kind of the main thing I do, but yeah.
They look great. I quite like the rough paper.
Thanks.
I'm into that.
Yeah, you've got a consistent look to your work.
Do you think?
Have you?
That's nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So that's something that you haven't really driven towards or contemplated. It's just happened, or.
Well, yeah.
Well, coloured wise, it's got a certain kind of softness to it, and then compositionally, there's a lot of negative space, and there's not too much clutter. I'd say that's probably.
Yeah, I think it's hard, isn't it, when it's your own work, to kind of say, when I meet someone new and they say, "Oh, what do you do, and what type of photography?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know."
Well, it's kind of easy to look, you'd say, look at somebody else's work and go, it's very similar to, it's a bit like man's, isn't it? Oh, what do they sound like? Yeah. It's like, it looks, it's just easy to, it's almost like a stereotyping thing that you do, isn't it? It's a bit
it feels
like
awkward
this.
when you're,
It's
when I was in bands, I hated that, but then looking back on the music, I can go, that sounds exactly like that,
Yeah.
But when you're in it, it's like.
But when it's you, you're like, I don't look like that. I don't sound like that.
Yeah. And I think I've always kind of battled with the idea of, do I need to have a niche? Do I need to be I'm I don't know, I can't think of anything now,
a
dog
specialist,
photographer or whatever.
Or a generalist.
But I think I've kind of come to the conclusion that my niche is my style, if that makes sense. That hopefully I do quite a wide variety of stuff kind of across lifestyle editorial, but I hope that my style unifies it, if that makes sense, rather than having a niche as such.
Yeah, so when a client's like, "Oh, we've got a job that he needs to have a certain look," I know Helly does that.
Yeah, I would hope,
My headshots on tregoningfilms.com are by yours truly.
Never had a headshot done.
Yeah, just the Tregoning Films and Tregoning Films Instagram.
I'm just going to look at yours, throw darts at them.
I was really ill that day. Like that. Sweating. In front of that concrete wall. It's great.
Yeah.
It looked great.
I haven't even got a website though.
Oh, for your paintings? Yeah, we
probably should get one, to be honest.
You don't need to. Do you want to sell them?
No, I just like collecting them.
All right.
Keep stacking them up upstairs.
Yeah, I'm going to see that one day.
But actually being asked to do some for somebody. Not going to say too much at the minute.
I asked you to do it, and you were like, no. A couple of years ago.
To do what?
A painting.
For you?
Yeah.
Weren't feeling it.
I'd like to pick my clients.
When you said no, I was like, I like this guy.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna do a series soon. I've got some like motors and stuff that I want to play around with. You know, like mark making, but not me making the marks. Like I want to make some machines that make the marks for me, rather than I'm just like a lot of this stuff that I've been doing. It's not about actually. I want there to be no craft or no skill involved. I want to be able to tell you, you do this, and you could produce a painting exactly the same, like a process, rather than actually any kind of skill in it. Yeah, I think that's my way of protecting myself from being judged and criticised. It's like, well, I didn't make it.
Nothing to do
There's
with
nothing
me.
to do with me. I just put my name on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Self-preservation. Yeah.
Yeah. Death of the author type thing.
You're weird. Yeah, so that's basically how you got to be to where you are now, I guess.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about you gallivanting off to Australia with your husband, with your fit husband,
Drinking
to
wine.
drink wine and take photos.
Yeah, it was a terrible year.
Yeah.
Terrible. So pleased I'm back.
Yeah. So COVID cut that short.
It did, yeah.
Having too much fun. Come back to England.
Yeah. Be cold.
Is the view to going back there at some point?
I mean, who knows? No one knows anything at the moment, do they?
New Zealand? Is that something you want to do?
I mean,
They let anybody in, are they?
I mean, amazing place.
Yeah.
Beautiful and a really kind of nice vibe.
Makes the Peak District look a bit shit, doesn't it? Some of it.
I mean, it makes everything look shit. But I kind of always felt like with New Zealand, I don't know, I feel like you'd probably end up going and living in one of the cities so that you could work. Because if you live anywhere else, it's a bit, there's nothing there. And then the cities are a bit meh. So you kind of could be anywhere. You're not really getting what you'd want out of New Zealand.
One of my friends spent a lot of time there, James, Jimbo. He got out there.
I think I remember him.
He got out there travelling, but he ended up working on the Hobbit set. He's got.
Did he? I didn't know that.
He's got loads of stuff he stole off the set. Actually, you know, like.
Did he play rugby like semi-professionally or something out there?
I don't know. He was a PE teacher.
Oh right.
Pedo.
He pitched it to me that he played rugby out there.
Yeah, he did.
But he's a PE teacher.
No, I don't think he was a PE teacher out there. He worked on some vineyards and some. Maybe that was in Italy. But I know he worked on the Hobbit out in New Zealand. But yeah, that's just like such a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
I think everyone out there was working on the Lord of the Rings at some point, weren't they?
All 45 of them. I think that's the entire population, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely a different vibe over there.
Isn't it quite expensive, the capitals live in?
Yeah, I think, I was speaking to someone about this the other day, actually. I think Auckland's got very, very expensive. I think there's been a lot of like external investment, so international investment?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you'd call it? Kind of building up.
China.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of Chinese
Silk
students.
Road. Have we talked about? Is it called the Silk Road?
Which one? Dark web.
So I think we have the Silk Road. They call. I don't know if it was an article or a book, but they call it. So like centuries ago.
Oh yeah, the trading routes.
Yeah, but so what they did to assert power over countries and continents, China, instead of through war, they did it through trading, and they did it on the Silk Road. And that's basically what they're doing now as well. They're like investing everywhere, like infrastructure, power stations in Africa and all this. So it's like a soft invasion sort of thing. I read an article about it. I can't remember anything else like, of any use, of any interest.
I do this. I read something interesting, but
I read a headline.
Can't recall any of it.
Didn't look into it any further. There wasn't the Silk Road set up to get silks to the Dutch and the Italians during the Renaissance.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was what it was about.
Is that part of your fine art degree? Do they talk about that?
I think it's late night watching BBC 2 art documentaries.
BBC 4. BBC 2?
2, 4, 7, whatever.
All the wacky
Yeah.
ones.
Just like to click on arts, and watch something occasionally.
What are you gonna do? Have you got any plans going forward? Or?
Who's got plans
Yeah,
these
I
days?
guess so. Just keep taking
definitely-
photos.
Yeah, we've definitely found it easier to not have plans, and then that's easier to deal with this situation at the moment, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, we're here for the foreseeable.
Chef.
Yeah, and then see what happens. But
Drinking wine,
yeah, a bit of
Good
that.
wine, really good wine.
really good
Bit of
wine.
walking.
So
hanging out with
little plug for the
family.
fella. What's he do wine wise? Does he?
So
is he wholesaling?
he's done
it,
all
or
sorts, but
is he
he's
into it.
he's proper into it. Yeah. So he's just starting a new job, and to be honest, I couldn't tell you what it is.
Is it something to do with what?
It is.
Oh,
but
okay.
What the actual role is, who knows?
Drinking wine.
Can you
and
like?
spitting it back out?
Does he Can he tell you really cheap wine that's really good?
He's very good at that, actually. Yeah, he's
To get
very
the
knowledgeable.
recommendations.
And like, yeah, it's a huge world, and he tries to teach me, but still, you go in a shop and you're like, well, I don't know.
That's got a
Okay.
nice label.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
it's
That's
not the
got a
cheapest
cork.
one. Yeah, the label. It's always
That's got a
Yeah.
cork. Don't want
Yeah.
no screw top.
So I think maybe there's something in that he needs to be. We've spoken about it before because I do it a lot, and a lot of my friends do it. Just text him when they're out for dinner and say like, "Here's the wine list. What do I like?" And I think there's something in that, like a Ask Jeeves type thing, like Ask Stu.
Yeah.
I think a wine book would be very good though.
It would have been, wouldn't it?
You can still do it.
Can't do the travel bit though, can we?
Take some good photos.
Be like an app. Would it be like an Instagram feed or a Twitter feed? Like he just updates it.
Of what?
A
Good
lot.
wine.
Just good cheap
Tips.
wine.
Why does
Like
it have to
Asda's
be
doing
cheap?
this at the moment. It's a really good. It's
Why does it have to be cheap?
because it's more mass appeal, I guess.
Maybe, yeah, more value than good value.
I'm sure someone already does it, but
I'm
it's
sure they
it's
do,
a
yeah.
it's a niche, isn't it?
Mm.
Rather than just like, hey, here's this good. This is good wine.
Do you drink much wine?
Not a lot, but I really like it. Had some yesterday. Oh, I had some today. Hannah always gets like
Was this before training?
bottles from Mowbray. What do you think?
You were really bad.
Before 10 a.m. No, it wasn't before 10 a.m.
Yeah,
My
nice.
broad cooked a Sunday lunch.
Stop saying broad. It's disgusting. He uses the
We
word
came
broad quite a
home.
bit.
Oscar and me came home from jiu-jitsu, and Hannah cooked a Sunday roast. I was like, I love you so much.
She is
I
great.
couldn't eat
With a
earlier.
baby on it.
Yeah,
I was-
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, totally pumped when I got back from the gym earlier. Shouldn't have been there. Shouldn't have been training. Really good class.
Huh?
You weren't there. You were.
I was not. Oh, okay. I missed that.
Yeah. No. I can't believe you didn't press record. We had such a good conversation.
It wasn't that good.
It was. It was really good.
Hey, it was pretty good.
I think it was better than the one we've actually had on the microphone.
I think we recovered it all, didn't we?
Yeah.
We did
Did we
alright.
miss any bits?
Well, we did past, present, future,
Yeah.
really, and our creative process we haven't notched on. I guess just like point your camera at stuff and
Pretty much,
that.
yeah, easy as that.
Do you
Anyone
take
can do it.
Download it.
Do you take shitloads, or have you still got the mindset of using film and you still try and
Oh, a bit.
pick a
both.
shot?
Well,
Because I know
Depending on-
it's kind of easy just to fire off loads,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it? Digital.
yeah. I mean,
not if you edit them, because then you know not to take loads of photos
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
editing them
so I
yourself.
think, yeah, you
Yeah,
definitely.
if you're editing them all, but a lot of them you can just
yeah.
ditch, can't you?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I do take quite a lot, to be honest. I think you just do, you just snap away. But I definitely know, like, you have an idea what's going to work and what's not.
Yeah.
I think when you're doing like headshots, you have to take a few just to make sure you've got a good
Yeah,
expression.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you
for
get a
sure.
nice setup, and then you just and then you have to direct them, and
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
depends on the thing really.
yeah, definitely. And, like, going back to weddings, like, yeah, you take so many.
Just yeah. Well, you have to, I guess, with that, don't you?
Hopefully
just-
there's something good there.
Weddings.
It is great. I really enjoy it. It's just if you do too many, you get bored of it,
Yeah.
tired of it.
I feel like we're being negative, but it is amazing, isn't it, to be part of
doing
like.
wedding.
And I think as well I often find that like you feel like really close with the couple by the end of it, because like you're with them all day.
I'm like, we're going to be best mates.
Yeah,
and never hear from them
hear
again. It's great. I love doing weddings. It's really hard to do. There's a real art to it, because you have to really know your camera, really know how a wedding works, be obviously creative, arty, have a good eye for things, but then you have to be really good with people as well, because especially a male going into a bridal prep and there's a load of like half naked bridesmaids and a bride is the most stressful day of her life sometimes, you know, and then there's the mum that's like paid for you, so you're going into this situation cold.
Worst.
Yeah.
And you have to be so...
Am I getting value for money out of this
Yeah.
guy?
So there's so much going on, and you have to like, you know, manage it and get the shots you want, but not being too intrusive. You have to be like, you have to be very good with people in a way, and it's great. It's challenge, isn't it?
I think being good with people's key for any kind of photography or film work, though, isn't it?
'Cause it's horrible to be taking photos of, isn't it? Most of the time, people hate it. And so, in order, you're a genius at it, making people feel comfortable, and you know, as short a time span before people start being natural as possible. Yeah. So just make them feeling at ease instantly. It's like it's part of it.
Do you think that'd be easier as a woman then?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in terms of doing the bridal prep, where you're going into an intimate space, it's way easy to. I imagine so, because I'm like my weird face and my beard,
creepy dude.
looking
doing
like
in
this.
the corner.
Who's this creepy
Real
guy?
creep.
But yeah, no, I think like I always say, like with my work, I think it's at least 50% like being able to get good rapport with people and good relationships and making them feel at ease, really, and then also like not being like seen some of the time as well, like slipping away into the shadows. They don't even know you're there, but then also making sure you get it, and so it's usually about kind of relationships and
it's fun. I love the feel of the day, the party atmosphere.
You're not allowed to have them anymore, though, are you?
no more fun.
No more weddings.
The ones I've done have been like wicked. The the couples have been way more relaxed.
Yeah, I think a smaller wedding's probably going to be nicer anyway.
Yeah,
it's way nicer.
A lot of the people at weddings don't kind of want to be there sometimes as well, so they're just like, I'm just going to get pissed.
Yeah.
I need to make this easier.
Yeah. It's a big like social thing, isn't it? I quite often think like if you are a guest at a wedding and maybe your life's not going great at the moment, and then you've got to meet all these people you haven't seen in ages and fill them in.
Why aren't you married yet?
Yeah. What are you doing? Oh, I just lost my job. Or oh, I'm really depressed. And
catching a bouquet and being like, for fuck's sake.
like, it's hard, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm just thinking about the person I sat next to at the wedding yesterday. My grandma. Oh my goodness.
Go on.
Is she having a hard time?
She gives everyone a hard time.
Oh, okay.
Did she
She's tough.
stand for UKIP as well?
She might have done. It's about halfway through. I'm like, I got to give the top table an update on what she's said to me so far. So like, these are the highlights, and they're like, because it's like, it's my uncle, so it's his mum, and she lives around the corner from him. So she just says the worst stuff imaginable. Someone sat next to her. I most people just stay away from her, but I quite like getting in the mix with her and just like, because I'm not really affected by it because she lives so far away and stuff. She's like 92.
Literally no filter whatsoever.
Zero filter.
I like her already.
Zero filter. And then gets like surprised when people get upset. She's like, what are you upset about? Like genuinely doesn't get it.
She got controversial views as well, or?
Yeah. She's like ultra conservative. But yeah, I think anyway, let's probably get away from it. I think really she's not. I don't think she's. I think she's a lovely person, and she's on the spectrum, is what I think.
Okay.
Because she is genuinely surprised when she upsets people on a daily basis.
Right.
Yeah,
I think
She
she's got some
hasn't learnt
undiagnosed sort of just, whatever they call it, personality
disorder.
Yeah,
Mm.
because she is generous and like, but she just
just
says the most horrible, offensive stuff.
I think that's sometimes just old women who do
Yeah,
that.
I guess
say,
it's old people.
Old women do
But
it,
she's
and it's
always been
kind of
like
like, ooh, and you let them. But then old men do it, and you're like, what an asshole. Yeah, unless they're like a nice little old man, and then you're like, oh, he's quirky.
Get away with
I
it.
think age. I wonder, like, if we're going to be like that.
Yeah, I quite often think this.
Like how things are going to change in the future, and are we going to be seen
what
as
we'll get uptight about. And,
yeah
Well, I think the curve of like
political
sort of-
correctness?
it's gone crazy past 20 years. So like these people that have these beliefs that socially everyone went along with now is completely
You're not allowed to
wrong.
offend anybody.
So these people haven't had time to change. Like, is this a weird peak, or is it
I
going
hope
to
so.
keep accelerating to a point where
It's really strange because this thing actually puts a filter on me because in normal real life I'm not as nice.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's really strange having a filter.
Different colours.
Any trips planned?
No.
Local? No?
Well, just walking a lot, hey.
I've
I
been
think, like, in terms of work, like, I mean, we've all had a lot of time, hey, to think about things. So, yeah, I've definitely been thinking about kind of what work I'd like to do moving forward. And I think I'd love to do more kind of, I've always loved doing real stuff, like kind of photographing real stuff going on, real stories. And I'd really love to do more work around kind of human nature relationships. So kind of really showing off that, the huge benefits that nature has to our health. And
Okay, that's interesting.
ultimately
There's a
why
market
we
for
need
that.
to look after it, eh?
Definitely a market for that.
Favourite place in the Peaks?
I mean, it's very busy at the moment everywhere, isn't it?
It's horrific because I used to go out quite a bit.
You can't give away your
before.
favourite place.
Well, mine's
Can't give
quite
it away.
easy. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
Win Hill. I just love it.
Bit steep for me, Win Hill.
I love smashing it up there.
I'm not.
Did
I
it
don't
in
like
13
incline.
minutes last year. That was my
Well done.
look at the face.
I just don't.
That was like steaming up it. But yeah, probably about 22 on an average
Well done.
trot.
I like the reservoirs.
Yeah,
Reservoirs are good.
Derwent
Danflass
Valley.
is good.
Damn
No, not
fast,
Danflass. Agden. I like Agden.
Agden. Have you been
Agden's
swimming
nice.
in it?
Yeah.
It's just like ridiculous. A few weeks ago, just like, what the fuck is everyone doing here? Because we used to like, that's where we'd go and, because I went to Bradfield School, so that's where we used to like go and swim or in the summer and the little, and then I was like, why is there fucking 50 cars here and police? It's
know.
like, this,
Yeah.
no one's usually here. And just everybody's
It's
swimming.
been mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was like police going, you're not going to swim, are you? It's like, yeah, why? You going to stop me? No, well, you
People
can't.
like, do people die there all the time or something?
I don't think anyone's ever died in Agden, to be honest. I don't think many people die in reservoirs, do they?
Yeah, I guess.
But it's because it's really weird because I go up to lakes quite a bit, and in the lakes, because they are actually lakes, not reservoirs, you're allowed to swim in them as much as you want. Whereas here, the reservoirs and they're owned by Yorkshire Water, so there's all bylaws about you swimming in drinking water and things like that. And
Makes sense.
yeah. And
If I
they
knew that you'd swum in some of my drinking water,
What an image.
well, if you want to know, I actually took a shit in Agden, so there you go. Until you've shit in
is
water.
that why you have that
you've
weird
never lived.
filter?
You mean
Water
my,
filter. He doesn't drink out of the tap. He
No.
filters it. Is that why?
No,
Because
I,
you poo in.
what's it called? I distill all my water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just stop pooing in the reservoirs and you won't need to.
It's not just me pooing in the reservoirs.
Oh.
It's a thing.
All right, then. Sorry again. But thanks so much for listening and watching. If you got this far, tell a friend, share it. Follow us on Instagram. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.